Ring-a-ding-ding. NBA Straya, how are you going? Hey, you going? You're right, you should be. Why is that, Jim? Well, it's hump day, Wednesday, July 2. And free agency chaos reigns. That's right, I'm your host, James Clements. This is NBA Straya. I'm here in Larry Armour Studios. And what a bloody day it has been. That's right, we got a massive move from the Milwaukee Bucks. I hear it's Algonquin for the good land. We've got all the free agency chaos from day 2 of free agency. We've got all the fallout, the upside, the good stuff, the contenders remaking themselves from all the latest signings. We'll have the Aussie update. And then we'll do some quick yeah-nahs and unpopular opinion of the day in OUTBACK TAKEHOUSE for you today. Basically, this is a catch-up episode on all the stuff that happened, which was a lot, since we last spoke. Isn't that nice? Yes, it is, Jim. So, yeah. Should be a fun one. So, we're going to go through all the deals, every single bloody one of them, talk them out, figure out if it's good, and then move on. Sound good? Good. Great. Without any further ado, let's get into it. Episode 1200 and... Is it 99? Oh, Lord. 1,299 episodes. God damn. Of NBA Australia. Let's go!
This is Josh Giddey.
G'day, this is Andrew Gay.
This is Jack White.
This is Joe Ingles.
This is Dyson Daniels.
This is Chris Anstey.
This is Matthew Delvedova.
This is Shane Hill.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening and watching NBA Australia.
This is NBA Australia. Let's do it.
Watch out for the shark attack.
Well, you better. Or you better watch out for the... Oh, God, did I just get waved attack if you're Damian Lillard? What the hell? Or you better watch out for the Milwaukee Bucks attack if you're the Indiana Pacers. You better watch out for the luxury tax attack if you're the cowardly Indiana Pacers as well. What the hell was that? Seriously. What was it?
What was that? What the hell was that?
What the hell was that? All right, let's start today's show the way we start every show here at NBA Australia with the daily. Oh, so the whip around, is it, Jim? Yes. We've got a bunch of news to get into before we get into the free agency gear, of course. We'll start with the salary cap. So the salary cap stuff that we talked about yesterday, I forgot to mention where the luxury tax actually starts on the salary cap number, right? So it's a 10% raise from last year. We go to $154.6 million. And what I was talking about yesterday is the 26-27 number is only projected to rise 7% at the moment. Now, that is just a projection. There's a bunch of other stuff that's going to happen in between then and now, but still. An interesting sort of wrinkle when you go, cool, it went up 10% this year, 7% the next year. When you're building these sorts of contract numbers, etc., when you were probably maybe banking on some sort of 8 to 10% increase next year, it gets a little bit squirrely very quickly. But at the same time, 7% of $154 million is still a fair chunk of change. So it's going to go up a bit, just saying. Anyway, so with the cap at 154.6 mil this year, the luxury tax comes in at 187, right? So that's the number that you're thinking about if you are talking about in terms of revenue sharing and stuff like that. So if you think about the Pacers today, which we'll get into, obviously, talking about the Myles Turner situation, where they don't want to pay the luxury tax. It's a double-edged sword, right? You have to pay money at a specific rate for every dollar that you spend above the luxury tax line of $187 million. But if you come in under the luxury tax, guess what? You get a bunch of money from those teams above that in a bit of a revenue share, which is kind of nice. So the 187 is your luxury tax number. 195.5 is the first apron where basically the restrictions of sign and trades and stuff like that and all the money that you're sending out, that you're spending as well, comes back to bite you on the arse. And the second apron is going to be $207.8 million. And that's where the big restrictions come in, where they're like, fuck you, you don't get this pick, you can't do this, you can't do that, fuck you. Yes, it's a hard cap, Jim, isn't it? Yes. So, look, the 7% for next year, like if we land at 166 million bucks in the salary cap, it's worth remembering that because that money from 154 to 165, 166, that 7% raise it does go a little bit of a way to help mitigate stuff like the Dame Lillard buyout and the actual Myles Turner contract, these sorts of things. But anyway, let's get into the actual other news. The New York Knickerbockers of New York City are zeroing in on their guy, Mike Brown. Awesome. That's just...
This is horrible. There's no other way to put it.
It's fine. Mike Brown's fine. Everybody loves Mike Brown. He seems like a good dude. He seems like a fine coach. But if you're telling me, Jim, in a vacuum, who's a better coach for the Knickerbockers of New York City? Tom Thibodeau or Mike Brown? I would fucking grab you by the shoulders and scream in your face, Tom fucking Thibodeau, dickhead! So, I don't know. Just keep that in mind, Jim Dolan. Anyway, onto his fourth team as well. Like, teams aren't, like, coaching teams isn't like Pokemon, Mike Brown. You don't have to catch them all. Other news, the big one today, obviously. We saw it all come across the tickers. Tyrese Proctor has officially signed with the Cleveland, that's right, Cleveland Cavaliers. Our little Aussie battler. 4-year, $8.6 million deal. First 2 years guaranteed. Third partially guaranteed. And fourth year a team option. Love this for Tyrese Proctor. No, we got two massive ones today, didn't we? We had SGA signing a huge Supermax extension. 4 years, $285 million, which would lock him away through to 2030, 2031. So he and Mac Andrew could be free agents at the same time. Because he Pickett, SGA, mates, what do you reckon? Breaking the news here. Pickett will join the Warriors. I don't know. But this is the biggest yearly salary in NBA history, which is chaos. But at the same time, it's your reigning MVP and finals MVP. He's pretty bloody good. So, locked away, bang. And then, of course, the other one, Milwaukee can from absolutely fucking nowhere to tee up a deal with Myles Turner of the erstwhile Indiana Pacers. 4 years, $107 million. But Jim, how could they possibly do that? They don't have salary cap space. That's right. They didn't. Until they fucking waived Dame Lillard. They went, we're going to buy your contract out. And Dame's like, fucking cool, bro. Peace. Now, I have a bunch of thoughts about this situation and this deal. So Dame Lillard's $113 million remaining on his contract will be stretched out over 5 years, right? So it's what, 22-ish million per year. He wasn't going to play next year anyway, right? He's busted his Achilles. He's 35. I'm just saying, I'm not going to sort of cry too much about it if I'm the Bucks or Dame, because despite Dame having a $50+ million player option 2 years from now, it didn't seem like he was probably going to pick that up. He probably would have signed elsewhere anyway. This is the Bucks. Yes, they're paying $50 million a year now for Myles Turner when you include his salary and the amount they're paying for Dame Lillard to not play for them so they could get Myles Turner in. But I don't really mind it. And like, this might be the unpopular opinion of the day from your mate Juma. I'm just saying.
Now look at me, please. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
It was pretty clear Dame and Giannis wasn't working great. And as I said on yesterday's show, what the Bucks need, as soon as Brook Lopez was out the door and off to the Clippers, 37-year-old Brook Lopez, just saying, off to the Clippers, they needed a stretch five. They don't really exist. Myles Turner, well, they can't get him, so I don't know. Now they've got him. This is awesome. So I kind of love it for the Bucks for the simple fact of like, yes, the $22 million you are giving Dame Lillard this year anyway, yes, it was going to be $50 million. But that was a sunk cost regardless. He wasn't going to be on your team. He wasn't going to play for you. Now you've got Myles Turner playing for you, and it's costing you $50 million. This just gets squirrely in the final 4 years. And as I said, the salary cap going up 7% at a time suddenly means, yes, you've got $22 million worth of dead cap, just like bloating up your entire sort of, fucking back end spreadsheets. Just go, what are you doing? And you're essential roster building gets a bit hampered pretty fucking quickly when you got $22 million just dedicated to somebody not being there. Now, I lived through the Deron Williams situation in Brooklyn where they're like, you fucking suck. We're sick of you. We're paying you out. Fuck off. And he's like, see ya. The Nets did not regret that. And I would argue that Dame Lillard, who was a fucking less than zero on defense last year, put up some okay raw numbers. He and Giannis actually had a decent record together. What was it, like 74-43, I think, in the games they actually played together. But so he's about to turn 36 as well as Dame Lillard. 36. I think that's right. Or is he turning 35? He's turning 35, I reckon. Let's just check that while I'm actually reading it out. He's 34, so he turns 35 in 2 weeks' time. So he would be 35 for the entirety of next season, come back as a 36-year-old coming off an Achilles injury. Now, I don't know about you, but a bloke who was already bad on defense, who's basically a player who's relying on his speed and quickness to get around the court, coming off an Achilles at age 36, I just don't know if that was a great investment anyway. So you sort of move on from that. You go, fuck it. We've got the best 5 available that we could put around Giannis. We've done that. We've brought a bunch of dudes back. Giannis is now kind of like, I'm not entirely stoked with this entire idea of not having Dame anymore. But I'll tell you what, next season, they've taken the other part of this as well. They've taken Myles Turner from Indy. Indy doesn't have Tyrese Halliburton. There goes another contender. Suddenly, the Bucks are giving themselves a puncher's chance next year, right? And at this point, you look at Atlanta, you look at the Knicks, you look at Detroit. You've got some interesting names in the East, but you've also got the likes of Boston. Well, obviously Cleveland still just look like the dominating force there. But you've got teams like Boston and Indy that are sort of raggedy. Orlando has remade themselves a contender with Desmond Bane and Tyus Jones. But Milwaukee, adding Myles Turner, giving themselves like another fucking swing, I kind of don't mind it. Yes, you're going to have fucking dead cap space just sitting there for the next 5 years. 4 of them will actually matter in. But you've done the damn thing now, right? You didn't have any picks anyway. You've gone all in. You've gone chips in around Giannis. May as well fucking keep going in more. Why not? And how's the reporting though? Dame, he's ecstatic. There's about a double-digit number of teams calling, interested in him. When will he be back? There was some speculation he'd be back around the All-Star break. Bull fucking shit. It's an Achilles. He's done the next season. He'd be cooked even if he did come back. He did it right at the fucking playoffs this year. Fuck that. Piss off. So if he does sign with anybody, it'd be the 2-year deal where he can rehab on their dime, come back for the next year. But I'm not going to lose much sleep out about not having a 36-year-old Damian Lillard coming off an Achilles. Just saying. Indiana, meanwhile, what the fuck are you idiots doing? So we're going to do winners and losers on Friday's show, and I think Indy have really firmly just gone, but we're not going to have Tyrese Halliburton anyway, so we'll just give this a bit of a miss this year. We don't want to pay the luxury tax. They have not paid the luxury tax in 20 years. To which I would argue, why the fuck do you own an NBA team? You just had lightning in a bottle last season. You had an awesome team. And I would also still contend, without Tyrese Halliburton next season, you look around that Eastern Conference, without Halliburton, you've still got very decent backup point guards on that Pacers team that can keep you afloat, get you into the playoffs. You've just made a fucking finals run as well. Do you know how much these teams make per playoff game as well? It's all free money essentially over the top of their season, all the gate revenue, all this sort of stuff, right? It goes into their coffers. They're walking around making a shit ton of money because they've had a massively deep playoff run. I feel like that could mitigate the tiny little bit of luxury tax and the lack of revenue sharing that you then get because you're paying the luxury tax to sort of soothe this over. But no, the Pacers brass, in all their fucking mastery and smartness, have galaxy brained themselves out of contention, really, next season. Yes, Tyrese Halliburton was hurt. Yes, he wasn't going to come back. But I still feel like they could have been floating along going, right, we're playing Andy Nemhard a lot more. We're playing more Ben Shepherd. We're playing more TJ McConnell. We're still basically a solid Eastern Conference team. Instead, now they're kind of like, well, at least we got our first round pick back for next season. Was that an indication they were thinking about not paying Myles Turner? Maybe. Anyway, I think it's absolute fucking bullshit from the Pacers, and I think if you're a Pacers fan, you should be rightfully, wildly fucking pissed off that they were like, no, Myles Turner, how about 3 years, $60 million? And the Bucks come in and go, hang on, how about 4 years, $107 million? And here we are. So apparently, the reporting on this was they were pushing, Myles Turner's reps were pushing just to get the deal done, but because Indy did not want to pay the tax, especially after Tyrese Halliburton's injury, it meant the Bucks went, hello, we'll take you. Here's 4 years, $107 million. We'll give you a 15% trade kicker as well, because we know just how pissy you get about all this fucking trade talk. Player option in the 4th year. So don't mind it. Away you go. Love the move for the Bucks, getting Myles Turner. Yes, you're paying $49 million a year for Myles Turner, essentially. But fuck it. You've got Giannis. Like, play him at point forward. Go sign Dante Exum. They traded Pat Connaughton and 2 second-rounders to go get Vasily Micic as well from Charlotte, who I think is going to get a buyout and piss off to Europe, but still. Where will Dame go? It doesn't matter. He's not playing this season anyway. You're going to hear so much fucking chatter. I mean, he's 35. He'll be 35 in a second. He's not playing again until he's 36. I feel like the list of 36-year-old point guards who are small and come back from an Achilles injury and actually back to being all-stars, it doesn't exist. So, not sure about that. I love Dame. I think he's awesome. It's been a great run. It's been awesome. But this little fucking weird run of injuries or non-stop, the fucking no-showing kind of Milwaukee stuff, always being sad. I get it. It sucks being away from your family, but fuck me. Anyway, is it Dame time? Not anymore. Two other little bits. Teenage Mutant Jakob Poeltl signed a $104 million 4-year extension with the Toronto Raptors, which has been interesting because this is like, again, signing mechanics, contract mechanics in this regard are pretty interesting. He picks up his $19.5 million option and then adds a 3-year, $84 million extension on top of that, which is pretty amazing because, mate, if you find just seriously, everybody out there, make sure you find someone who loves you as much as the Toronto Raptors love Teenage Mutant Jakob Poeltl. Because holy fucking shit. They're just like, no, he's our Teenage Mutant Jakob Poeltl. Are you kidding? We're never going to let him go. They didn't want to trade him for Kevin Durant. And they're like, no, we want to pay him a lot of money to hang out and just be kind of good. It's crazy. And speaking of other big max contract forward centers, Jaren Jackson Jr., he of the giant 4-year extension the other day, literally suffered a turf toe injury that will require surgery participating in a live basketball run off-site. So he's out there playing basketball, fucks his toe the day after agreeing to a massive contract decision, like extension. Holy fucking Memphis just like, we didn't sign that. Yeah, we might have agreed to it, but I don't know. Do you see a signature? What are you doing, Jaren? Just saying. All right. There we go. That is the news. We've also got a fuck ton of signings still to get through, some of which are awesome. So let's take a really quick break, come back with all of the goings on, the rest of the goings on at least, from day 2 of free agency right after this.
Hey, what's up? This is Nick Hexum from 311, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
All right, let's do it. So, with the SGA extension there, the Myles Turner deal going to Milwaukee, Jakob Poeltl re-signing with the Raptors, I mean, there was a lot going on. And then there was even more going on, wasn't there? This was crazy. So all the Dame and Myles Turner stuff happens overnight, our time. And then everything else is sort of trickling through. And you sort of keep looking at it, you're like, holy crap. Yes, there's no fucking money out there. We talked about this on yesterday's show. So a lot of these numbers are really, really flat. A lot of these contracts are for 2 years, 3 years maximum sort of stuff. They're either essentially like the non-tax-paying mid-level exception or the tax-paying mid-level exception, the veteran minimum. That's essentially where we're at now. But there was still room today for some pretty big fucking moves, if you ask me, because a couple of teams, as I said at the top, contenders might have kind of remade themselves very, very nicely. Let's start out west, way out west, in Denver, where they picked up my beloved Tim Hardaway the Lesser. What? Yes, they did. A 1-year deal for Tim Hardaway the Lesser, following his dad's footsteps again, playing there for the Nuggets. Tim Hardaway Sr., the legend, played there for a bit. The thing is, so they get him from Detroit, and you just think about the Denver situation now, because they then traded Dario the Homie Saric to Sacramento for my name is Jonas Valanciunas. That's right. They've actually got a backup center who can A, play, B, isn't fucking DeAndre Jordan. Like, that is awesome for Denver. So, obviously, winners and losers on Friday's show, but just for a second, think about Denver's lineup. And the way they've remade this roster really fucking quickly on the cheap. So, Cam Johnson replaces Michael Porter Jr., a better defensive version of fucking Spaceman Porter Jr. Love that. He does more for you on offense. Isn't a dipshit. Boom. Love that one. Bruce Brown comes back at the minimum. They get Tim Hardaway Jr. They get Valanciunas. Suddenly, one of the thinnest teams in the NBA that was a contender has at least an 8-man rotation where if you can get Strawther and Peyton Watson decent again, you're looking very fucking solid around Jokic. And I love that. I love this for Denver. I love it for Joker. Let's fucking go. Then, what else happened, Jim? Well, there was a lot. Duncan Robinson goes to Detroit. 3 years, $48 million for I'd like to have a beer with Duncan. Not bad. He goes in a sign and trade for Simone Fonteggio. He goes to Miami. But Duncan Robinson to Detroit. Replacing Tim Hardaway the Lesser, probably a little bit less, creation off the bounce. But Detroit are basically looking at this going, we don't have Dennis Schroeder. We don't have Tim Hardaway now because Schroeder goes to Sacramento. I'll get to that in a second. We just need fucking shooters because they're basically banking on Jaden Ivey coming back as well and being like the awesome backcourt mate for Kay Cunningham, along with their, battery of wings, Ron Holland, Orsar Thompson, Tobias, the Never Nude, Harris, etc. But just adding shooters to that roster is fucking smart. Duncan Robinson, gun shooter, let's go. 3 years, 48. It's not breaking the bank. It's probably a little bit more than he probably ought to have gotten. He hasn't been great the last year and a bit, but boom. Duncan Robinson to Detroit. Dennis Schroeder, I am German Rondo, ends up in Sacramento. 3 years, $45 million. This feels a bit rich for a bloke who got fucking passed around like a blunt at like a year 11 party at Ballarat High School. Jesus. It's going everywhere. And finally lands in Sacramento, despite there not being a Malik Monk trade just yet, which was obviously rumored. But Schroeder, I mean, again, we talked about on yesterday's show, the platonic ideal of a player versus the actual reality. Schroeder's good like that. It's like, can you play him in a playoff series? It's like, yes. Is he going to help you win? No. Perfect for the Kings. Gary Harris is off to Milwaukee on a 2-year deal. So again, this is like the Bucks just collecting all the Garys. I don't mind that. If you're going to double down on Garys, why the fuck not? Gary Trent Jr., Gary Harris, just get all the Garys. Why not the Bucks? The other big ones. Yabusele to the New York Knickerbockers of New York City. I actually fucking love this because this Knicks team, you think about what happened to them in the playoffs, right? So you make an East Finals, you feel like you might be making the finals, and then fucking a Halliburton shot from God happens and boom. They had zero bench depth. Now they've just added Jordan Jeremy Clarkson and Yabusele, who did yeoman's work there in Philly last year, just as a do-everything, big burly forward. Those Knicks fans out there do not know how much they're going to fucking love Yabu and Clarkson next year. It's crazy how much they're going to fall in love with those dudes. Love that for the Knicks. Good stuff. Sandro Mamukelashvili is off to Toronto. Mamu. 2 years, $5.5 million. Sure. After they got Cornette down there in the Spurs, he was superfluous. It was Mamu. Larry Nance Jr. is returning to Cleveland. For a second stint, 1 year deal. Love that for him. Just solid backup big man. He was talking about fucking forgotten dudes down there in New Orleans. God damn. Anyway, love that for Larry. Off to Cleveland on a contender. People are just sleeping on how good Cleveland's going to be next year. They're going to win 65-plus games and just fucking crush dudes. It's crazy. Like, as long as they're healthy, laughing. Trey Mann. He stays with Charlotte. 3 years, $24 million. It's a lot of money for Trey Mann. But anyway, Josh Minott goes to Boston. 2-year, $5 million deal. Sneaky, okay signing. Minott was pretty good for the Wolves at times. Didn't get much shine, but I also love that the Celtics are just like, we're just going to get all the Wolves back up. We'll get Minott, we'll get Garza, and away we go. Jericho Sims goes to Milwaukee as well on a 2-year deal. Sure, that's another big man. Drew Eubanks is waived by the Clippers and ends up with Sacramento, and Eric Gordon had just got announced by the Sixers that he's going back to Philly. So this is where we're at. It's like 1 o'clock on the Wednesday. It sort of seems like all the signing stuff has really, really fucking slowed down as it's gotten later and later and later in the States, and that makes sense, right? Luke Travers has signed his 2-way qualifying offer to go back to the Cavs, so he's going back to Cleveland. Love that for Luke. Very exciting times. Very happy for him. Like to see him get some more run. Very annoying now that Larry Nance Jr. is there, but still. Good stuff. The thing is, so why has there been sort of this real fucking trickle of signings as of today? Well, let's have a look at who's left, shall we? Who's left? Obviously, our man Josh Giddey. He's a restricted free agent. This is obviously he in Chicago. There were like kind of reports floating around. ESPN are like, Giddey and Chicago aren't close, blah, 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 blah. This is the problem about being a restricted free agent when no one else has any other money for you to use as leverage to go there instead, right? So Giddey could be like, I want to get paid $35 million a year. Bulls are probably like, how about 25? And then we go back and forth, and they'll be going back and forth until the cows come home. The same thing's going on with the Jonathan Kuminga in Golden State. He could also just sign the qualifying offer and just become an unrestricted free agent next year. Interesting situation there because it feels like the Warriors kind of need him to come back. They don't want to break the bank, so they're kind of like, have a crack, son. Have a crack. Cam Thomas, same thing there in Brooklyn. Restricted free agent. Q Grimes, same sort of thing in Philly. So these teams are simply just sitting there going, look, hey, guys, you're going to have to come to us with a number that we're okay with and that we can fit on our cap sheet, that won't fuck us up, that we can work around, and, we'll go from there. And, of course, the teams probably being asshole-ish about it are kind of probably like, and we need you to help us out. Take a bit of a haircut from what you expect. Shit time to be a restricted free agent, basically, is where we're at. Not a good time. Outside of that, who else is left, Jim? Al Horford. Still out there, hanging out, probably taking some meetings. As I said on yesterday's show, feels very Golden Statey after they let Kevin Looney went to New Orleans. Al Horford to be perfect there. Just depends on how much they want to pay. Celtics, obviously a really tough one. He'd have to come back on the super duper cheap to re-sign with Boston. Outside of that, the Nuggets, they probably don't need him now that they've got their man Jonas. Cleveland probably don't need him now that they've got Larry Nance Jr. Al on the Knicks would be interesting, but they just got Yabu. So, yeah, it's kind of like Golden State, Boston, who knows. Russell Westbrook, he was rumored to the Knicks. Now, apparently they've sort of just gone a bit cool on it because they're like, well, we've got Clarkson, we've got Yabu, we don't need Rusty. Sacramento is another Rusty landing spot. Orlando would be funny. I kind of don't want it to happen. I would much rather Chris Paul end up in Orlando. Just saying. Chris Paul, just saying. Milwaukee, they need a point guard. Dame Lillard, old and cooked. Replace him with Chris Paul, who's old and cooked. But at least we'll play. I would desperately, despite them signing Tyus Jones, still love Chris Paul in Orlando. Malcolm Brogdon, same sort of thing. Old veteran point guard. His injury history, he's only like 32. He's looked like he's 32 since he entered the NBA, but another sort of solid veteran point guard for anyone who needs him. DeAndre Ayton is obviously the big one still out there floating around. Once he clears waivers, Lakers, The Pacers. Now, remember the Pacers. So the deal that he just got bought out from was actually the deal that Indy signed him to, that Phoenix in the olden days had to match before Phoenix traded him to Portland. So they gave him this contract as an offer sheet. He'd signed it. Phoenix matched it. He stays with Phoenix, gets traded to Portland. Could he eventually end up in Indy anyway, which would be hilarious? It feels like this might be the only way Indy save a little bit of face about the Myles Turner thing. Go, well, we'll replace Myles Turner with DeAndre Ayton. It's like, not sure how that really helps you guys, but here we are. But if he ends up as a Laker, that makes plenty of sense anyway, doesn't it, DeAndre Ayton? And if you thought LeBron James was pissed about Luka Doncic's work ethic, just wait till he meets DeAndre Ayton. Jesus. More Wagner is still floating around. Spencer Dinwiddie is still out there. Amir Coffey. So there are obviously like a few lists, but there is a very, very, very short list of names of actual players who are available. So it's Giddey, it's Chris Paul, it's Malcolm Brogdon, it's Westbrook, Ben Simmons, obviously. We'll talk about the Aussies again in a second. Q Grimes, Cam Thomas restricted, along with Giddey. Eric Gordon's now gone. Anthony Melton coming off his ACL. Caleb Martin. Torrey Craig. It's getting very thin on the ground, right? Chris Bobby Boucher. Trey Lyles. Precious Achua. Jackson Hayes. And that's about it. Like, there's fuck all left. So it kind of leaves us in this situation where we're waiting on the Giddey contract number from the Bulls. Who knows how long that's going to take. Ben Simmons, it feels like just the money has dried up everywhere. For a bloke who took a buyout last year from Brooklyn, ends up with the Clippers, who knows? Like, who needs a large non-shooting point guard? Just saying. He'd be horrible for Orlando. They just need someone who can handle the ball and shoot a little bit. Chris Paul, let's go. Patty Mills obviously still out there, but has his GM of Hawaii basketball, so why not? Dante Exum is the other fascinating Australian name still floating around. He'd be great in Milwaukee if they don't get Chris Paul. Dallas still seemingly want to bring him back, but they are, I think, at the 15-player limit, so they'd have to move on from someone like Olivier Maxi Prosper or Jaden Hardy. Gets a bit tough, doesn't it? So Dante in Orlando, Dante in Milwaukee. Let's just make it happen. Someone get our man Dante. Jack McVay, he'll be getting back to the States very soon as well. So there we go. But otherwise, that's kind of where we're at. There's some very clear winners and losers so far. The winners, obviously, Houston in building just a fucking juggernaut, if you ask me. I love what Houston have done. Jock Landale still floating around as well with his guarantee sitting there up on July 7. We'll see what happens with Jock. Atlanta have rebuilt their roster as well with Nicky Alexander, Walker, and co. Really, really dig that. Denver have solidified their spot as a Lee fucking Jute contender once more in my brain. Love that. Big losers, New Orleans. Remember how they got that pick back from Indy and also the Milwaukee one as well for next year. It's just New Orleans is just getting fucked sideways. It's crazy. Losers, I mean, Dame Lillard's got to feel like a bit of a winner because he's been bought out, but by the same token, he's been bought out. That sort of stank just sort of sits with you. So, Indy are probably losers as well. Those poor fucking Pacers fans, after an awesome year, are just sitting there go, what the fuck just happened? We don't have Tyrese Halliburton. Myles Turner, the longest tenured Pacer, is now gone. Fuck. All because you got a cheap-ass, old-ass owner. Get fucking out of here. Anyway. All right, let's take a quick break. That is all of the stuff that's happened today so far. Let's do some YNRs right after this.
This is Cam Glidden.
This is Anthony Drimmick.
This is Mitch McCarron.
This is Jason Cadet.
This is Darryl McDonald.
Hey guys, this is Hugh Greenwood.
Yo, what's going on? This is Illy.
This is Mark Worthington, or commonly known as Wortho, and you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA
and you're
Australia.
listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
Right, let's do some quick YNRs brought to you by you. That's right. You can shout us a beer, shout us a coffee, or you can sign up to the membership level, which is pretty fucking just cheap. But you do get an exclusive, unique podcast each month from your mate Jim. just for signing up. And also, you just help support the show because out here doing it by myself, help the pirate ship stay afloat. Thanks to all the legends who have signed up. We are working on the unique exclusive podcast right now, which is really good. It'll probably be with you tomorrow, I reckon. But either way, should be good. So go sign up right now. The link is in the bio. So hit that up. Shout us a beer. Shout us a coffee. You can join up to the Dead Set Legends Club if you want. Off we go. Bang. Love this. Anyway, let's do some yeah-nahs. Matty O, Dame time just expired, Jim. Yeah, nah. I kind of think it has. Dame Lillard will still have like a moment in the NBA with a team where he hits a big shot in a big moment and it'll be like, whoa, here we go, Dame, yes, we did it. He's back, baby. Nah, he'll do that, but otherwise, for a bloke who was already fucking just like super duper cooked on defense, the offense was suddenly struggling as well, was always injured, does his Achilles, weren't getting anything from him this year anyway. It gets real fucking hard. Real fucking hard for him to get back to like Dame time, all-time levels. So makes me a little bit sad. But also, you can sort of, like, this is why I'm sort of sitting there with the Bucks just going, yeah, fuck it. Your cap sheet's going to be fucked for 5 years. It was always going to be fucked anyway. Right? Just keep building around Giannis in any way you can. It's going to bite you in the ass. It's going to suck. But take your medicine. Good stuff, Matty O. That might be time on Dame time. Scotty B. What a weird free agency so far. Some very different looking teams next season already. Yeah, nah, yes. The Dame Lillard move. D-Lo on the Mavs. He actually, I think Scotty B comes, not a fan of Russell to the Mavs. Yeah, nah, neither am I. I absolutely love that Nico Harris is like, oh, well, yeah, see, defense wins championships. And his backcourt is currently D'Angelo Russell and the husk of Klay Thompson. What are you doing, Nico? Oh, I knew Kobe. Fuck off, idiot. Absolutely amazing. Anyway, but $49 million just to like have Myles Turner is pretty crazy. Like, but here we are. We're gonna have a bunch of different looking teams next year. I'm actually super stoked with it because it feels like the top echelon of contenders in the NBA have all looked at OKC and just gone, fucking, oh God, man, how do we combat that? And instead of rolling over, a bunch of them have gone, all right, well, shit, we can do this, we can do that. That might help. And away we go. Because Denver specifically, right? I'll get to that in a second. We had a good one from Zachy Boo come in. Everyone is complaining that Dame was stabbed in the back. Yeah, nah, he's the real winner out of this. I didn't realize getting paid $23 million a year for the next 5 years and not having to show up to work is actually a stab in the back. Yeah, nah. Yeah, he is a big winner out of this. He now gets to choose wherever the fuck he wants to go. He doesn't have to worry about the money because that $112 million is getting paid out anyway. Over 5 years, he can just go do what he wants, try to glom onto a contender. He's probably going to end up in Miami. He could end up in Golden State, hanging out with Steph. He grew up a Warriors fan, quite famously. I don't know if you heard, but Dame is from Oakland, and he likes it. So I feel like he's going to land in either Golden State or Miami, do his thing. But yeah, he's a massive winner. He doesn't have to hang out in Milwaukee where it's freezing fucking cold. He can go to Miami, do his thing there, rehab in the warmth, laughing, or he can go back to his old stomping ground there in Oakland and be fucking happy and content with his old team that he fucking grew up loving. So that's fine. I think Dame Lillard's going to be okay, folks. Just saying. Does he have another big moment in the NBA? Yeah, nah. Yeah, I reckon he will. But are his days as an all-star over? Yeah, nah. Yeah, as well. I think he's just cooked. So that's a lot of Dame stuff. Thank you, Matty O. Thank you, Zachy B. Thank you, Scotty B. Hey, Denver or Houston are the biggest winners here? Yeah, nah. Yeah, I'm going to say Houston. I think. Just because, and it's really fucking close though, because Denver have just completely remade themselves, and I love it. They've taken this big fucking contract number of Michael Porter Jr., and people are always like, oh, well, you could trade him for like 2 players, right? Just, you split that money up into 2. They did even better. They split that money into a better version of him in Cam Johnson, They then used it to get, like, they needed shooting and playmaking. They did exactly that with Bruce Brown and Tim Hardaway Jr. And they got a better backup center. They got pissed off Saric, who was a fucking absolute waste of space for them. They get My Name is Jonas. Boom. This is a team that went 7 games with OKC already this year, and they got substantially fucking better. Like, Jamal Murray, Christian Brown, Cam Johnson, Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic as your starters. You're bringing in Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway Jr., Strawther and Watson and Jonas off the bench. I fucking love it. I really love that. But it does sort of feel like Houston have just like an absolute fucking boost of a team that was already the 2 seed. They lock away Jabari. They bring in KD. They bring back Fred VanVleet on the cheap. They bring back El Jefe Green. They bring back Big Steven Adams-Brew. They bring in Clint Capella. Like, they can play in a bunch of different ways. They have Dorian Finney-Smith. Their list goes on. They just remade themselves and got way fucking better. They brought, I don't know, even a higher upside to that already quite terrifying defense. I kind of love it. Houston are just, like, that's the one team where you look at it. Yes, Denver just went fucking a full round with OKC. 7 games. Houston, though, the way that they sort of built out the rest of this roster, all that defense, I kind of love it. I do want to see it, though. So, I don't know. It's probably Houston just ahead of Denver, but fucking hell. I love how desperately awesome the top of the West just got. Speaking of which, I already gave you the unpopular opinion of the day. How about a bit of a Outback Takehouse before we go? Oh, yeah. It's Wednesday at Outback, and you know what that means. Hump Day specials. That's right. We've gone out into the Outback. We've taken down a bunch of feral camels, and what we do is we lop off the humps. We fill them with like mince, chickpeas, some spices, a couple of veggies in there, and boom. It's basically camel hump haggis. You roast it up, it's fucking delicious. And it's only at Outback, and it's our Hump Day special. That's right. Hump Days. Hump Day humps. Only at Outback. Today's Flame Grilled Take is very simple. The Lakers will not win another title with LeBron James on the roster. Only at Outback. Seriously, LeBron James has sabotaged his own chances of winning another title by, yes, getting paid is good. When you're a billionaire, you get to be a billionaire by not turning down money, I guess. But you can't feasibly build a good team around in Los Angeles on the Lakers around LeBron when he's 40 years old making $53 million a year. It's just not going to happen. Only at Outback. It's not even a Flame Grilled Take. It's just reality. Like, they let Dorian Finney-Smith go. Oh, but they're going to get DeAndre Ayton. Great. You've still got this weird fucking backcourt mix of Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic, and LeBron. Who, like, between those three, you're just, like, all those other teams in the West that I just mentioned, OKC, Houston, Denver, they're looking at that and just going, ooh, barbecue chicken. Could not give a fuck, mate. They're going to love that. So, all right. And there we go. That's it. So, as mentioned on yesterday's show, we had the remaining questions from free agency. What is there, Jim? What do we need to see answered over the next day or two? Well, we didn't see the Myles Turner Dame Lillard thing happening. So that was pretty crazy. It came from the blue. There's probably one other thing that'll come from out of fucking nowhere. It might be a Zion trade. Who knows what's going to happen? But it does feel like, I don't know, Chicago. The big questions left are Chicago and Josh Giddey. What happens there? Cam Thomas in Brooklyn. What happens there? Johnny Kuminga, Golden State. What are they going to do? Where does Al Horford finish up? Where does Chris Paul go? Who wants Russell Westbrook? And does anybody outside of China want Ben Simmons on their team? Right? And then for the Aussies, what happens to Jock Landale? Dante Exum, can we get him to Milwaukee, please? What's going on? So it's kind of weird that with all of the stuff that happened today, the remaining questions from free agency is basically the same as yesterday. Like, I think all we got answered was really like, where's Yabu end up? And Yabusele's on the Knicks, which I still fucking love. So anyway, there's no Malik Monk trade just yet. He might just stick around in Sacramento. But who knows what the fuck the Kings are going to do, man. Like, that entire organization is just absolute mess. But yeah, so I think we're sort of sitting pretty. which means what we'll probably do is we'll leave it there for today, and that's where free agency is. As I said, there's fuck all names sort of really out there. So what we'll do is we'll do a show on Friday, wrapping up what happens probably tomorrow. Unless something massive happens tomorrow, we'll jump on and do that. But otherwise, we'll probably just we'll have the exclusive show for the members go out tomorrow. So if you haven't signed up, go do it now. Just hit the link in the socials bio, buy us a beer, shout us a coffee, join the membership level, the Dead Set Legends Club, and you'll get an exclusive, unique show probably tomorrow. And then on Friday, we'll do winners and losers so far of free agency and wrap up all the stuff that sort of happened in the next, 48 hours until we get to that show. So there you go. There's been a lot going on. The Dame Lillard thing was pretty crazy, but I think the Bucks got better. Let us know what you reckon. Send in all your, yeah, nahs and all that sort of stuff for Friday's vibes, and we'll answer them as best we can. So make sure you're following NBA Australia on Twitter, Facey, IG, TikTok, and of course YouTube. We're all over the socials. And we'll probably do a video as well, like recapping all the biggest moves, probably Friday morning. We'll see how we go. Check us a rating review on your podcast app as well. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, whatever app you use. Just smash a fucking like, subscribe, 5 stars, review it, whatever you can. Help a brother out. It does go very much appreciated. Big thanks always go to From Oslo for the intro and outro song. Check out House Hats as well as Joshua De Laurentiis, Fascinated Goldmines, Ramshackle Army, Iowa, Section A, Green, and Dozers. They're behind all the tunes you hear throughout the show. So smash them all on Bandcamp, Apple Music, Spotify, all that good stuff. NBA Australia Sports Train Band, so should you. So hopefully on Friday we'll have a bunch of Aussie news to wrap up for you. Hopefully we'll have a landing spot for Josh Giddey, or at least a contract number for him with Chicago. Hopefully, even if that probably does pop off tomorrow, we might jump on if there's other stuff on there that can basically me be yelling for a half hour. But otherwise, we'll catch you on Friday, you dickheads, for a big winners and losers of free agency. And this is NBA Australia saying, look after yourselves, would ya? And later, hosen.
I've been broken. I've been stripped. The flesh is dripping from my bones, and I don't know how I am gonna deal with it.
G'day, legends. Your mate Jim from NBA Straya here. That's right, I'm doing a thing at the end of the show. In the business, we call it a thing at the end of the show, I guess. I don't know. Either way, all I'm just saying is just make sure you're rating, reviewing, starring, subscribing across all of the apps that you use for NBA Australia. Jump in the comments, give us a shout. We'll bang you in yeah, nahs. Any other questions? I'll have a crack. I've got nothing better to do, basically. Also, just ask any questions. Tell me what you want to hear from the show and sing out and let us know. And of course, if you want to help support the show, jump on the old dabble. Use that code NBA Australia. Click on the link that's in the show description or on the socials. It goes up whenever I do the morning vibes, etc. So if that's your thing, jump on there. Use that code NBA Australia. And remember, look after yourselves, would you?